Hi, everybody. We're so excited to introduce you to a feature film director and commercial director from California, Tom Logan. Hi, Tom. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
We met Tom a long time ago at the International Modeling and Talent Association, and we just wanted to invite him to tell us a little bit about him and why he works with Excel and what he does with Excel. And we're going to have Becky and Audra. So Becky, say hi.
Hi, Tom.
Audra, you say hi.
Hi, Tom.
Hi. And we're going to get this show on the road. So I think Audra is asking the first question.
Oh, fire away.
All right, Tom. So how did you start in this business?
I was an actor for many, many years. Worked in New York for a long time, came out to California. I was on various shows. I did General Hospital for 13 years as an actor, on and off. Other soaps, a lot of TV series, and a lot of commercials. But what I really always wanted to do was direct. I guess I'm a control freak. And for someone telling me what to do all the time, after a number of years, I decided I want to get on the other side. And so I wrote a script. I sent it to Universal, and they said I said, but I want to direct it. And they said, no, we really don't want you to direct it. So I said, well, I really don't want you to have a script. So that went on for a year. I mean, back and forth. And at the end of the year, I had just bought a home, and I thought, I better sell this script to them, take the money, and help for the down payment on this home. This is really interesting. It was on a Friday that I decided on Monday morning at 9 o'clock, I was going to call them and relent and give in. And at 8:35 in the morning, on that Monday morning, it's a year now from the time they turned me down, they called and said, you can direct it.
Oh, wow.
The day
So if that's not some kind of intervention, I don't know. Something went weird there. And so I directed for Universal for a long time. And then now, luckily, I've gone out pretty much to do my own stuff.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
Wow. What was your favorite project to work on?
I did a picture with an actor named Roddy McDowell, if you remember Roddy,
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes, all those films, called Shakma. And we had this was in the late 80s, and we had a real baboon that there's 13 people in the film, and he kills all 13, and then he's dead at the end. You know, it's a Disney kind of thing.
Wow.
Anyway, I guess that was my favorite because we didn't have the computer-generated images that we have today, so we really had to have a real baboon. And it was about 6 weeks of terror shooting that film. And it did real well in theaters. And I guess it was my favorite just because of the intensity of shooting with a lot of animals, including a baboon.
Oh, my gosh. Are there any projects that you've worked on closer to Arkansas?
I shot a picture called Camping Buddies, which we shot in Shreveport.
Oh, okay.
And actually used, what's her name? Haley. And I met her there in Arkansas. So your place. So that worked out terrific. And she did a terrific job. So Shreveport is the closest that I've ever gotten there. And I'd like to get back there and shoot again.
Yeah, you met Haley at Excel.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I've been there on many occasions. And I'm not just saying this because I'm talking to you. I would say this if I was talking to anybody. It's the best place to study anywhere near around there. The people are terrific. They're very caring people. And I highly, highly recommend anyone who in that area and wants to get into the business to call Excel in Little Rock.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Tom, what are some topics that you cover in your workshop?
First of all, I give an overview of how we cast films. And I've done studies over 40 years of being a director. I write down the person that we cast. I take notes on what color clothes they're wearing. Blue, aquas, and turquoise works the most, gets cast the most. Whether if it's a two-person scene, whether they're on the right side of the screen or the left side of the screen, is it actually better in an audition to be on one side or the other? So I go into all these statistics of how to get cast. And for 40 years, what I've done is every audition I hold, I take a tape recorder, and I still do this, and I record every comment that everybody in the room makes about every single actor that we see. And every 6 months, and every night I go home and I download into that computer all that information. Every 6 months I go into that computer and pull out all the stuff that we like and dislike about actors. So the first hour is really just a lecture on how we cast and why we cast that way and how to make your odds better statistically. Even what time of day to come in and audition. Best time is 1:18. So I've actually gone through a lot of research. So that's the first hour. And then we get on camera and I get into how to make us watch their performance. You know, when they do a slate, we see 300 to 400 people a day. We don't sit and watch 300 or 400 performances every day. No self-respecting director does that. So we fast forward from slate to slate to slate to slate to slate. And well, that's what we do in auditions. And so I go into a lot of ways of how to, when they give their slate, which is what they give their name, and that's the first thing they do, that's normally when we shut it off, right after their name. So just all kind of tricks on how to kind of force us into watching their performance. And then we get into the performances, how to talk like a real person instead of acting. Most people come from theater. I love theater, don't get me wrong. Most people come from theater and they overplay everything. They play it very dramatically because you're always taught in theater, make it bigger, we can pull you down. You know, it's just the opposite in television and film. We'd rather you be too low and let us pull you up a little bit because the camera's right in someone's face. And so we get into that and we do commercials, and then we do television and film and all the differences between acting because they're totally different. Just film and television is different. So by the end of the third day, you really see an improvement. I don't have to say, let's go back and look at your first one and look at the difference. I start to play their first ones and they try to, oh, please, I don't want to see that. And they're kind of talking in a language they've never talked before. They might say, oh, I missed the edit cut point in that shot. And I miss, you know, when I go back and play their first one. So they're starting to talk more like a director. But the fact is the director is going to cast the show. So you have to think more like a director.
Good information. Yeah, that's really good information.
So then the advanced class, the on-set class, you teach more blocking.
The on-set class is exactly what it is. On set. Okay, so we're not auditioning anymore. This is not how to go in and get a job. This is how to hit a mark. This is how to know how to frame up for close-ups and long shots. We use all kind of terminology. I might say, give me a TV turn to the right, 180 degrees, make it clean, we'll do it symmetrical. You know, we go through all this terminology, and for an actor to be on the set the first day and you throw all this at them, they can get fired pretty quickly. So it's a real tough class, but people afterwards never watch television and film the same because they can watch a show and go, oh, they were walking to that mark. Now they're doing a TV turn on that mark. So it's really a fascinating thing to run into people later who say, you've ruined my watching television and film. But I enjoy it actually more because I can see the blocking and the angles and how they're cut together. Being able to act is not good enough. There are people who can act everywhere, and some of them are just brilliant. But being able to act and being able to do that on camera is a different story. Right. It's real different type of class. I don't know of any other, I'm sure there are, but I don't know of any other classes that are taught about what to do when you get on a set. They're all about how to get to the set. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be fired the first day.
Right.
And how did you find out about Excel?
I met Summer at IMTA, which is a convention for actors, where hundreds and hundreds of agents come, and no other place can you meet that many agents in 4 or 5 days. Right. And I was giving a lecture, and I think Summer came up to me and said, you know, would you like to come to Arkansas? And I said, yeah. But before I agreed, I checked them out because that's just what I do. I have 4 best-selling books out, about to have 2 more, about the industry and how to get into it. And so I'm real careful where I go because a lot of times I go on some of the major talk shows when they need someone to come in and talk about actors or how they get in the business or whatever. So I have to be real careful where I go. And I turn down a lot of people. Probably for every place I go, I turn down at least 10. So I'm real careful where I go. So I checked them out. They seem to be good people, but then it's kind of a trial the first time I go. Do I want to come back?
Right, right.
So I went. It was a delightful experience. They have a great organization. Their teachers are excellent.
Yes.
People are excellent. They're genuine, good people. And I was thrilled to come back. And I've come back many, many times. And I will come back as many times as they ask me to. And I can't say that about a lot of organizations I go to. Well, actually, I can say that now because I only go to people I really, really like these days. I'm between 66 and death. And so I'm kind of at that age where I just want to do things I really want to do. And I really like coming there. And that's why I love coming to Excel.
Why would you recommend an aspiring actor attend Excel Academy?
You got to be real careful where you go. First of all, they got to be legit.
Mhm.
And there are a lot of organizations, like in any business, that just frankly are there for your money, charge you a fortune, number one. Number two, you want to go to some place that has good teachers that know what they're doing, because bad training is worse than no training at all. Are they a legitimate organization? Are they honest people? And number two, what kind of academia, how good is the instruction? I can say from personal experience of being in Excel that both check those boxes real easily. But I know this is a top-notch organization, and I don't go for two organizations in one place. It's a conflict to me. And there are some other places around Arkansas that have asked me that I said no to, not just because of the fact that I do it exclusively for these people, for Excel, but also because maybe there's something about the organization that didn't gel, and they gel.
Yes, that's good. Right.
That's good. That's really good.
And how would it benefit my career by taking your workshop at Excel?
The perspective you get from me is you get it from a director, and very few directors teach. I don't know of any others. I'm sure there are. I'm in the circuit, I travel. I just don't know of any other directors that are working directors. So my workshop really gets into how to impress a director. In other words, I have to look at a scene. Can I edit that scene? Can I cut that scene? Being able to act is not good enough. You give me the timing and the beating in between the lines so I can cut in the reaction shots and all the technical things that an actor has to know when they come into an audition that a director can spot. 3 words out of their mouth, I can tell. Just like in any profession, if you know your profession, if you were an airline pilot, you could get in a plane with someone before they take off, if they know what they're doing, because it's something you do every day. So my perspective, you should take from those people, you should take from actors, you should take from all types. But the difference in mine is it's from a director. And I have to do the casting, and I'm the one that listens to all of the comments in the room. If I'm doing a McDonald's commercial or a Coke commercial, I'm the one that listens to the client telling me I don't like this person because, or I like this because. So after doing that for 40 years, I kind of know what we're looking for.
Right.
And the business changes too every few years. It's, look how it's changed because of the virus.
Exactly.
Now we're doing all this stuff online, and colleges are doing so things change and the business changes. You need to keep up with that. And as a director, since I'm there directing all the time, I'm keeping up with the new trends. We have different cameras than we used to use. They do different things. They're so sharp now that every little pore in the skin shows, whereas we used to use film and it would shield some of that. So just whatever is happening in society kind of changes how we do things. And so you need someone who kind of keeps up with all that. And Summer does, because she hears all that when she goes to the IMTA, and she knows all the agents, and most of them in LA and New York, because of all those connections. And that's another thing you want to look for when you go to a school or an agency. Do they have connections outside of their area? And Summer does. We know a lot of the same agents in LA, and so that's another important factor when you go someplace. Hopefully they have connections too.
Right.
Thank you, Tom, so much for coming and answering our questions and talking to us.
Thank you so much, Tom. Bye.
Bye.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye.